Welcome to Immediate Review, where we see a movie in theaters and then review it immediately.
And I believe in cinema.
I believe in cinema.
What's up, guys? So special episode today. We just watched The Godfather.
The Godfather.
So, a little backstory. I have never seen The Godfather before. This was my very first time watching it.
This is like my 10th time.
Yeah. And I haven't seen any of the others as well.
So, Peter, what'd you think?
Okay. So I just have to say this just straight out. That I think this movie was a little overhyped for me. Yeah,
Oh.
I thought that there was this like I was not like completely blown away by this in terms of like content and things like that. I think that the most shocking thing, we're just gonna jump right into spoilers, by the way. Like, if you haven't seen The Godfather by now,
go watch
whatever. But yeah, so the first time that
I will say, part 2's better.
okay, that's what people say. That people do say that. So, but yeah, so this one, I like the biggest shocking factor was when the Godfather gets shot. The first time he gets assassinated, essentially, but he survives. That was really shocking for me because I thought he was like gonna be throughout the movie. I thought he was legit dead, like they do the whole thing and whatnot. But like there should have been like the guy from Kung Pao who's like, just because someone goes doesn't mean they are dead, and then I would have understood. But so that was like the most shocking thing. But the rest of the plot, they kind of. It kind of gets told to you a little bit. Like they explain like, this is what's going on, this is what we got to do, and this is what I'm gonna do, and then they do it.
Yeah.
And it's like there you go. And so, like, to me, it didn't have a lot of the like build up. Like I was thinking of like Breaking Bad, how Breaking Bad kind of does it backwards. How they have like the plan, but they don't tell you the plan, and then you see the thing, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And then then they explain it later. Which just kind of like makes the reveal of like, boom, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, fucking gun was hidden in the bathroom the whole time. Like, that would have been cool to have it happen, just like in the moment.
Oh,
but,
I totally disagree. That's what builds the tension. Is
but
the gun, and
so,
there's even a moment where he's like, and then pulls it out. Like, they fuck with you a little bit.
No, and they do the thing where like they turn around on the bridge and make it seem like they're taking him to a different place or whatever. But like, and that's what I thought. I thought that there was like they were taking him somewhere else, and he wasn't gonna have the gun there, and he was gonna have to figure something else out. But that didn't end up happening. And so yeah, it was just like I expected more because everyone's just like, oh, The Godfather's just the greatest fucking thing ever, it's so good, everyone's and it's just like, I don't know, I just expected like this, like a grand thing. Not to say that it wasn't good. I'm just saying like my expectations were much higher from everybody talking it up.
Yeah.
And I wish people would have just been more realistic about like what
you'll like it more once you get the
I'm
whole story.
and I'm hoping that too, because it feels like I'm missing a ton.
You are
like
it's there's so much that this first film establishes that yeah.
So that's kind of just like my first like here's The Godfather. So
and in terms of when, like, the context of when this film came out, like, the reason it was considered one of the greatest is because it was just a stylistically groundbreaking film for the gangster genre.
Right.
Nobody had ever taken the genre this seriously before. Nobody had created this magnum opus of a 3-hour film that's just like the rise and fall of the crime family, kind of in a transition of the first Don is in his final days and passes the torch to his son. And this came out in 1972, so it was on like the early end of like 70s crime wave and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it was relevant too, because they were doing a mob transition from
Yeah.
like gambling and things like that to hard narcotics
Yeah,
and things,
exactly,
and that's
exactly.
like that's a real thing that happened in New York and like through gangster society. I mean, like everything that they do is like well documented that happened. Like they would buy out cops and politicians and like hoard power and whatnot in these ways so that they could do essentially whatever they needed to.
Because I think the most of the time when people say it's the greatest, they're not just talking about this movie. They're talking they're talking about 1 and 2.
Yeah.
They are talking about the story as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 counts. I count 3, but most people don't. So
because yeah, there's a lot missing just in Michael as a character in the beginning. Like,
see, for me, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, like in general, like
he's not in the beginning a lot. You're right, though.
Well, because 2's a prequel, right?
The first like 2 reels, Michael's not in it a lot. You're right.
Well, I mean, I'm more talking about just like he has a whole character context. Like he's been in the military and all this stuff. He has this whole history of who he is that we don't really get a whole lot of context of, and he just has a conversation where he's like, I don't want to continue, like where he basically talks bad. He's like, yo, my parents did this and it's fucked up, and then he kind of just ends up going on down that road anyway.
It's his dad dying that pushes him. It's like, that's why I was saying the hospital scene is so crucial, is because that's the moment where he's the first time he has to organize and tell people what to do and make a plan in order to defend his family. And that's like, that's where the switch happens. Like the hospital scene is when he goes from old Michael to new Michael.
Right, and it has the, like, he's trying to light the lighter, and, like, when he hands it to the Don,
dude.
he lights it, and it's like, he's the one who is able to ignite the fire of the family. Like, I get it. Once you mentioned the symbolism, I was like, symbolism? What symbol? And then, like, as the story progressed, I was like, oh, because he's going to take over the family.
And he knows what's going on in the hospital, and he's just like, oh, do this, do that, okay, do that, do this, okay, and like, he proves himself, and it's a very the music too, and the tension building. It's tasty.
So yeah, I will say this movie, like the actors in this movie, except for like a couple, there was a couple that were like not very great. But the main cast of was phenomenal to watch. Al Pacino, of course, kills it. Robert Duvall as well.
He's really good.
Job. As Tom, and like his, I honestly like sympathize with him. I think the most out of everybody. Like
Tom's kind of the guy in the middle.
No, like he's literally he's like the he's obviously sided with the family, but
he's also the legitimate one.
Yeah, and is like somewhat neutral in the means of things, and but also
he's loyal to the family no matter what the cost.
Yeah, is like super loyal. And is smart, and like whenever things were happening to him, when he's like, "You're out, Tom," I was like, "Why is Tom out? Like, he doesn't deserve that. He's a good guy. What the heck, man? Like, you know what I mean?" I also thought the effects were really good in this. The like
a lot of the freaking squibs and stuff are really good.
Yeah, really good, and they were able to get like glass to crack on people's faces, and blood to come out. I'm thinking it was probably prop glasses, and they had something that could impact it, that could cause the fractures, and then blood would like spray out of a tube like right here into his eye.
Well, the blood thing, but the glasses, it really is a good effect.
No, it is, and. Yeah, just like I don't know, the cinematography, obviously is on point, and really good. There were we watched it on Blu-ray, and there was some stuff that I complained about, but it definitely wasn't the fault of the actual filming. Yeah. It was all about the scanning process and things
just
like that.
Just the condition overall.
And condition of the film over time, and what they had to.
No, there were some B-roll shots though. Some of the Las Vegas and a couple landscape shots were definitely B-roll, but it's like, it's
no, and it's not. It wasn't a huge deal. It was just kind of like there were some shots that looked just fucking incredible.
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
it would just be like a transition shot to like they're moving to another city or something. It's
Yeah.
just grainy and noisy as hell. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's because still the early '70s, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is one of those landmark cinematic achievements. But you know, there's a man named Scorsese who's made a lot of damn good gangster flicks after this one. And
Right, yeah.
yeah, I bet you enjoy The Irishman more than Godfather.
I mean,
Yeah, you definitely did. Based on your reaction.
Yeah. Because, yeah, it's like, but, you know, The Irishman wasn't, like, built up over, you know, years and years and years. Because there was a long time where I refused to watch The Godfather. I was just like, no, I'm not going to watch it. Everybody loves it, so I'm not going to watch it. And, you know, it's like, yeah. And then once I was like, okay, like, I'll finally watch it, it was like, I'd really like to watch it in theaters and see it for real, and so it was like,
Yeah, but with this pandemic, it's just I've been getting a Godfather itch, and I was just like, we need to do it.
well, and I mentioned watching it the other a week ago or something.
I haven't
was like,
seen this in like 5 years though.
Yeah.
It's I forgot it's been a while because it's one of those movies that if you watch it and just really pay attention, it can last you a bit, yeah. But the next time I see it will be in theaters, or if they do a new transfer. Hopefully Criterion does something, that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so what do you think of Brando?
Brando, remind me of
The Godfather.
the
I love that you
Godfather.
did.
I'm terrible at names, man. I'm so bad at it, man. Like, so I thought his acting was fucking incredible. Like, I thought he did a really, really good job. And yeah, I thought like, you know, like 95% of the stuff that he did was like believable. Besides, kind of like the whole dying, yeah, you know, kind of running around, the heart attack or whatever happened was like kind of, like a little, I guess, like, you know, over the top, I guess, a little bit.
I
like,
think it's a really sweet scene because he's running around with the little boy, and then it gets morbid because the boy doesn't understand that he's dead, and like, starts squirting shit on him.
I think that like that kid didn't. I don't know if that kid even knew he was in a movie. Like, I don't like.
That's what's great about this scene, man, is the kid doesn't know he doesn't understand the situation. And the Don just died, and he's just like laughing and spraying on him, and it's like kind of heartbreaking, and yeah.
But yeah, like I thought he was great. Yeah, he was great. He acted really good.
For me, the best part of this movie is just the whole story of Michael. How at the beginning he doesn't really want to be involved with the family, and he's just attending the wedding to show up. But then, yeah, kind of once his dad dies, he has to make a choice whether to like defend his life, and is essentially forced into the family, but not really, because Sonny could have taken over. And
and he was the one who decided to make the choice. Like, he was like, I got the military training. I could walk in there and I could kill these fucking dudes because the cop punched him in the face.
I'm saying forced
like,
in the sense of like fate. Like, if his dad wasn't shot, that's not what would have happened. And if his dad had just eventually died a natural death, Michael wouldn't have had that like stream of like vengeance and stuff like that.
Well, and so, I think a lot of it is the perfect storm too. It's like his dad was assassinated, but lived long enough for them to be able to figure out who did it. Like, you know, and the like fact that they were coming and he was forced to defend the hospital, and then walking out of the hospital and having the police, the people that were supposed to be there for him, realizing that they were paid off and that he wasn't going to get any help, and then the fucking cop knocked him the fuck out in a single hit. He has just a giant fucking welt on his face, like for fucking like 40 minutes, like, after that, he just has, and like, his face is like almost like permanently like has a bruise there.
I love the foreshadowing too, when they're having that conversation, he's just like already sitting in the chair and like taking his place as the Don, and like the way they just slowly, like, when you see it again, like it really is masterful how they just ease him into the role of until it consumes his life, and then there's just that final shot at the end where he's just like got his hand out and they're all kissing it and shit, and yeah, and Kay realizes like he's a fucking murdering bastard. Yeah. Oof.
But does she realize that?
She does. Oh yeah. No, it's,
Okay, because
she's like, oh, thank you. I knew you. Oh, okay, thank you, Michael. And then she goes, and then she turns around, and when she sees the guys flank him and just be like, Dawn, oh God, you're the Dawn. We love you. And like, she knows what Dawns do. He told her what his dad does, and she knows what happens if he's in that same position.
So
and,
she's just like, he's evil, Michael.
And part 2 follows up on it extremely well.
So is part 2 a sequel or is it a prequel?
It's both. It's
both.
Yes, the
Both.
sequel aspect follows up on Michael Corleone, and the prequel aspect shows his dad Vito his rise to power, and how like when he immigrated over and how he rose to power, and he's played by Robert De Niro. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, part 2 is good, man. It is fucking good. Cause yeah, really the for me the biggest flaws of The Godfather, like you said, are just tiny circumstantial stuff. Just like the film got fucked up, or somebody might have like flubbed something, or there's a few line deliveries that are awkward. Like it's not a quote-unquote perfect film, but it is perfection in its existence. I don't know, it's just an amazing fucking movie, but it definitely has more like just like it definitely has more threads showing than part 2 does. Part 2 is because Francis Ford had done another movie and had gained more notoriety. Al Pacino had done a bunch of movies. It's like This one is like the indie film, and the next one they really up the production, up everything.
For sure.
And part 2 really is stellar.
So that's good, because yeah, like I said, this one just kind of felt just like I was missing something. Like there's a lot of information that I want, and it's like it's a 3-hour movie. It's like like what information could I be fucking missing? It's like but
no, the book has more detail. They do rush things in the movie, and there's a lot of deleted scenes, and I think that is one problem the movie has, is like you really need to fucking pay attention, because they don't repeat a thing.
Yeah, and there were some things like the stuff, like the thing.
I mean,
at the end.
Is that a problem with the movie? I don't know.
Well, and no,
it both is and isn't.
I don't think it is. I mean, on first view, I think it can be a little frustrating.
I didn't understand this till my third watch. The first watch, I was like, "This is amazing." I don't understand it at all, but.
And yeah, it was like because it wasn't hard to follow along, but it was just like if you like missed out on any of the dialogue at any point, you would you'd miss out on a lot of context. And there was some scenes like that, like what happens with like Sal, I think, at the end, when it's like when he's like, oh, it was just business. Like I don't even know if they communicated that he would or how they communicated that he was the one, and
because remember Vito told Michael, he was like, whoever sets up the meeting is the one who betrays you. And then at the funeral, that guy came over and told Michael, and then he walked back over to the other guy and started shaking his hand, and they pieced it together. They were like,
okay,
yeah.
Okay, so it's like little stuff like that, like I missed.
No, yeah, and the first time, me too. I but
because I remember that scene totally, where he's sitting there and then the guy comes up and asks him if he can talk for a minute, and they step away. But the whole him coming up and being the one to initiate the meeting, and the fact that he wanted the meeting to be made so that he could read all of the other Dons and see kind of what they all were thinking, and kind of read their body language and whatnot. And it's like, I really like that stuff, but again, I wish there was a little bit more backstory on Michael to explain how, like, why he's so good at, or why he would think that that's a plan, you know, like, because he was in the military, like, maybe they trained him on how to read body language and whatnot, like, you know, just a little bit more. That's all I wanted.
I could see that.
And in the sense, I don't think that it's bad for that. Like, it's like it. I want more. So that's not a bad thing. So, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
Honestly, though, there is one aspect that the only thing that, like, the only aspect of the movie that's diminished for me every time I rewatch it is the stuff in Sicily. Like, I think that you could trim down some stuff in Sicily and beef up other moments in the movie. But I get that it's like it's trying to show you basically, you know, where their origins are. It's so I understand the purpose of, like, spending quality time in Sicily and you know, seeing the roots of the family and their traditions and all that stuff. But yeah, when I rewatch it, I'm not as into the. He goes off and finds another wife, and then she gets killed, and it's fairly inconsequential to the rest of the movie.
I agree,
like,
but I do think that it's important to show at least a little, you know, like a little bit of it. The reason why Sicily was important to me was it kind of showed that while he was enjoying life essentially away from this kind of incorporated gangster lifestyle, he still was carrying the like as baggage essentially from, you know, like he
it shows him making deals too and doing dumb shit.
He got a taste of it at the hospital, and he's just like, this is the power that my family has. Why shouldn't I, you know, exercise it? And it's like he's still keeping his distance from the family, but he's also, you know, like you said, making his own deals, you know, letting people know shit, like forcing women to marry him, you know, like whatever.
Shotgun women.
And yeah, it is kind of the final push that, like, forces him, like, it's like, no matter how far away I go or where I hide, they're gonna come for me and they're gonna kill the people that I care about. So I need to fucking level up and fucking be the boss motherfucker.
Yeah, that's true.
And
as opposed to if everything went fine and dandy in Sicily.
Yeah.
And he came back home, and then it's like, I'm home, and
yeah,
I succeeded.
It's that last bit, like, my fucking wife died, so I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna get another wife, and I'm gonna fucking.
We're gonna marry the. I thought they were already married, but
honestly, I don't know.
I don't think they were.
I think he could.
No, because he like pulled her into the family photo.
Yeah. And so yeah, there's definitely that. You know, and so that's what I really liked about that. And literally he comes back and he's just like, yo, I'm fucking taking over. He fucking does this, and this. My brother's dead. I'm fucking, like, I'm doing this shit. And
when Sonny dies, it's just like, God damn it.
Yeah, man. They shred the fuck out of him, man. He's like turned into Swiss motherfucking cheese. and that was one of the scenes that I loved from Vito, where he was like, you know, where he's like, look what, like, I need you, what, like the favor that he has the guy do it that we see at the very beginning of the scene is to make his son look decent enough to show his mom.
God damn, that opening
that's
sequence.
Rough, man. There's a lot of characters in this, so it's like lots of names. I'm terrible with names, so I have a really hard time following along with, like, who people were talking about without visual context of who they were. You know, like they were a
big reason why it confused me the first time.
Yeah. And I'm terrible about it with books too, because, like, I don't know, just names mean nothing to me.
That's why I read the book. Yeah.
And yeah, but the characters are really, really strong in this. Like, you'd mentioned a couple times.
Even the ones who don't get a lot of screen time.
Yeah, like the scenarios and the environments and all of the like groups just feel very authentic and real, and, like, especially the wedding at the beginning feels very real. and like you are what like you're watching some professional footage of some like gangster wedding or something, like, you know, just like it's in color instead of, you know, like the 40s or whatever. But it looks similar to the stuff that's shot there, besides the fact that it's in color.
Yeah, they apparently just threw a wedding and just grabbed cameras and shot it. They didn't do takes or anything. It was just like,
That's what it. I mean,
was like,
yeah.
have your wedding and we will film.
Yeah, and honestly, like, because I had tried to watch this one time before, but it was like I think it was on TV or something, and it was just really hard to
have
like
the 5-hour cut with commercials. Jesus,
Yeah,
I would
it's
never
like-
watch this on TV.
Well, and the audio, especially on the wedding scene, was really, really bad, and it was like it was hard to hear, like the scene where they're like taking pictures, and he's like, "Where's Michael? No, I'm not gonna take it without Michael." It's like I literally like I can't hear what they're saying at all, and it's just like.
Well, it's
like-
supposed to be like back dialogue, but it's you should be able to still hear it.
Yeah, and like it would go through like I said, like I made it up until the point where the Don got shot, and I just had no idea what the fuck was going on, and I stopped watching it, and that was like my first experience like years and years ago, and I'm pretty sure it like happened and it was a commercial, and I was just like, okay, and I just like went.
It's like, okay, I don't get it.
Yeah, but yeah, so watching it with like more context is definitely good, and like I'm much smarter now than I was then.
Aren't we all? No.
Some people aren't. But yeah, definitely good. Honestly, glad I waited. But I really want to see this in theaters.
Yeah. There was the big shot that you pointed out that it's just we need a real film print for, is the classic leave the gun, take the cannoli murder scene where they're by a wheat field. And yeah, there's just like no detail even on the Blu-ray, and we need to see that shit.
Yeah. So, are we gonna review Godfather 2 and 3?
We're doing the trilogy.
Cool,
We're doing the trilogy.
Because yeah, we wanted to do our best, our like top trilogies, right? And,
Yeah,
and
you
I
gotta see
gotta
this
see
one.
The Godfather if I'm gonna rank. So like this is a big one. Yeah, let us know what you guys think of this movie, and if you're mad at me for not like just fucking just loving.
Don't worry, you're not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone at all.
Cool. But yeah, anyways, we'll see you guys next time. Yeah.